So how to take the screenshots, how to scroll the web pages, how to handle cookies. And the previous class, we have seen broken links and broken images, how to find in the web page, and working with the links, right? That's what we have seen. So the second part, that's all basic we have written, very basic programs we have written. In that, what is there? Just you're using a main method inside, you're writing everything. So to organize the code in a better way, we have to use the frameworks. So the frameworks you need to use in the real time is either JUnit or TestNG. Any one you can use. So what is JUnit and TestNG? We need to understand. If you're using a Java as a programming language for writing the test cases, so Selenium has a inbuilt unit testing frameworks, JUnit and TestNG. Both are different frameworks. And JUnit is just for writing a unit test cases. Unit test cases generally written by development team, but still you can also write. Automation tester also can write the unit test cases. And even you can use a TestNG framework also. We will understand one by one what is JUnit, what is TestNG frameworks, JUnit framework, what are all the annotations are there, how you will write the code, we'll see one by one, okay? So let's understand first. So JUnit is a unit testing framework. It's mainly used for writing the unit test cases. So, and current version of JUnit is JUnit 5. It started with the JUnit 3, then 4, now JUnit 5. So JUnit 5 is also called Jupyter. So Jupyter JUnit. So that's the JUnit. Writing your unit test cases, you can use this JUnit framework. And there is an annotation concept comes in the any frameworks. What is annotation? It provides metadata to the classes and methods. So basically metadata means, so whatever the data required for the classes and methods, that is going to be provided by this annotation. So annotation starts with a symbol, @ symbol, okay? Then followed by a name. That's annotation means. First it starts with @ symbol, then followed by annotation name. So annotations. So let's see in the JUnit 4 how you will call the annotations, and JUnit 5 what you call them. Same annotation, the name is changed, but functionality wise same only name is changed. So in JUnit 4, before class is there, @ before class. Same you call that in the JUnit 5, @ before all. And the JUnit 4, @ before, so we are calling that in JUnit 5, @ before each. @ test, @ in both versions. @ after is @ after each. @ after class, so became @ after all in JUnit 5. And we'll understand what is before class or before all, what is @ before and @ before each, what is @ test when you write, what is mean by that, @ after, @ after each, @ after class, @ after all, @ ignore, @ disabled. So ignore is renamed in the JUnit 5 as @ disabled. Is run with and run with. Suit and suit. So this is all the different annotations. Okay, in Unit 5 and 4. So let's understand what is mean by before class or before all. So meaning, please understand the meaning. Before class, before all means, so in your JUnit class, first this block of code will execute, but only one time it will execute. So this block of code will execute one time only. So any preconditional code, if you want to write before your test case, you can place that code in the before class or before all annotated method, which is a static method, and you can write your precondition for your test case. But this code will execute once only, first time. So when the class starts, first it goes to this block. How it will know? This is the method, right? Java method. But how it will understand before class? There is an annotation you have to write. B capital, A capital. So you have to write exactly same way. Before class also, B or C you have to use. So now we are using before all only because we are using Unit 5, right? So Unit 5, this doesn't exist. Unit 5 only before all exist. So, and it's a static method. Public static void method name. You can give any method name, and curly bracket starts, precondition code, curly bracket ends. So that's the before all. So before or before each. So what is meant by before or before each? So basically when you annotate any method with before each, this will execute before every test method. Before every test method. So before every test method, this will be executed. So that means you can write multiple test methods in the current class. Each test method before, so before each will execute first before each code will execute, then it will go to test method. There is a test means it's a test case. If you write any method above test, if you annotate that method above test, so it tells it's a test case. That means you are going to write only test steps here. So that's a test means. So we can write more than one test annotations in JUnit and test-ng classes. So now what is happening before each? Before executing this test method, first before each will execute, then it will come to test. Then it will come to test. So test will execute. So test will execute that. And test, one more test, test 2. Now, which test method will execute first? So before each executed, then where it will come? Because you have 2, right? Based on the method alphabetical order. So which one will come first? It will check, then it will go there. So before each test method, then after test method, it will go to after or after each. Each test method after after each annotated method will be executed. Basically, something which you want to destroy or you want to clean up something after your test case, then you can write that code in the after each annotated block. That's the after each means. So that means the cycle will rotate. First it will go to before each, then test one, then after each. If one more test is there, again cursor will go to before each, then it will come to test 2. So that means, so the common code between the tests, you can put it in here. Or some setup, before every test you want some setup. You can write in the before each block. Or every test after you want to execute some code, common code, then you can put in the after each annotation block. Basically this before class or after class, before each, after each, these are optional, not mandatory. But @test is mandatory in your JUnit test case class. @test is by default you will get. You don't need to even select there in the while creating a JUnit class. You will get automatically. It will be included @test annotation when you are creating a JUnit class. That is the this @test before each after each is meaning you can understand it. Before each test method, that means this code will execute. Then it will go to first test case. Then it will come to after each. That means this test after something you want to clean up. Then you can write that code in the @after each annotated method. See, this is the method, non-static method. So here, only before all, after all are static methods. Before each, @test, after each annotated methods are non-static methods. Okay, so this is all about before each, after each, @test method, and last one after all. So after all the test cases are completed, the finally after all annotated method will be executed, like cleaning up the browser or collecting the logs and taking screenshots, something like that. After all your test cases, something you want to collect post test case execution, those things you can place under this. Basically, you are partitioning your code with a different annotated methods, and you're putting annotation on top of the Java methods. So in the main method, we have written entire code in one method inside only, but that's not the real use case. The real use case is you will use annotated methods only. Annotations you will use to write your test cases. So we should understand this. And so after class, after all is pairing with a before all. If you take before all, you can take after all. If you take a before each, you can take a after each, but not mandatory. I can take only before class, before all. I don't need to take after all. If I need only, I will take it. So we have after all also will execute only one time. Not every test after, no. One time only it will execute. Before all will execute first, after all will execute last. Before each is each test method before. For example, I have 3 test cases, test 1, test 2, test 3, test method names. But annotation name doesn't change. @test only, @test, you should not change that. So test 1 before each will execute first, then it will come to test 1. Then it will go to after each. So you have test 2, test 3 also, right? Again, cursor will go to before each. Before each code will execute, then it will come to test 2. Test 2 will execute, then it will go to test after each. Again, you have one more test 3, right? Again, cursor will go to before each first, then it will come to test 3, then after each. So then no more test methods, and cursor will jump directly to after all annotation block. That means finally cleanup activity. The cleanup activity is going to happen in the after all annotation. Okay, any questions? So that's all the annotations. So what is the order of execution? Which order they will execute? So the order of execution is basically first before all, before each, test, after each. Then one more test is there. Then cursor will go to automatically before each. Then test 2, then after each. Again, one more time test is there. It will go to before each, test 3, after each. After that, after all will execute at the end. So this is the complete order, how it is going to execute. Okay. So then what is ignore? So ignore is you want to ignore the execution of any test case. Just write ignore just above the test method. Test, and above you write ignore. So that's in that Junit 4, this one. And you have to write in Junit 5 disabled here. That's only test above you have to write disabled. So that is the how you can ignore the test cases if you don't want to run any test case. For example, I don't want to run test 1. Just above test, I can write disabled. Then that test case is not going to be executed. That means that will skip. How can you skip the test case in Junit? Means you have to give answer. So write disabled. So for the test annotation, automatically that will be skipped. Junit runner will skip that. Okay. So this is the order of execution. First before all, before each, test, after each. Again, one more test is there. Before each, test, after each, and after all. So features are, so Junit is an open source framework. So generally we use for writing the test cases and running the test cases. It provides annotation to identify the test method with the test, and you can provide assertions for testing the expected and actual results. So you want to compare expected result and actual result. Expected means so what your customer is expecting. Actual means what is your application behavior. So both are not matching, you can report as a failure. So that is the assertions how we can do that. Okay, so next, it provides a test runner for running the test cases. So test runner for providing the test cases. and you want to run them, you can use inbuilt test runner will be there in the JUnit. And you can write, so test cases. So code faster, you can write and you can increase the quality. So JUnit is so elegantly simple, and it is less complex and takes less time to write the test cases. So JUnit tests can be run automatically, and they check their own results and provide immediate feedback. Okay, that's the advantage with the JUnit. So JUnit also provides a grouping by category annotation has been replaced by tag annotation. So you can group the test case with a tag. So JUnit 5 is going to add some assertions. Let's see what are the assertions. So here in this package, org.junit.jupyter.api.test. So in this package, we have a assertions. Assert array equals, assert equals. This is the mostly used one, assert equals. So what this assert equals will do, assert equals method is a static method in the assertions class. You know how to call a static method, right? Assertions class dot assert equals. So basically, which compares actual value to expected values. Expected and actual values will be. So compared. Assert not equals. Assert not equals. So compares two values to validate they are not equal. Assert true validates that the provided value is true. So this is already true. You provided that value is true or not, it will check. If not true, and that will fail. Assert false. So validates the provided value is false. So these are the methods widely used. Assert equals, assert true, assert false, assert not equals. These are the four methods you can call, and this will accept two arguments. One is expected value and actual value. So you have all kinds of different kind of data type parameters are there. String you can pass, integers you can pass, float, double, all kinds of data you can compare with the assert equals method. Assert equals means both values are same or not, it will compare. If not same, it will return so failure. Assertion error, it will be thrown to us. And assert true validates that the provided value is true. So assert false. So the provided value is false. So these are the methods, very important. And so we'll see how to run this. So JUnit test case, how to create. So we'll understand how we can write the test cases. And basically, if you want to, right, if you want to write a JUnit test cases, you need to first declare WebDriver as a global variable, global static variable. Why? The annotations you have, those are static and non-static methods are there. So in both methods, we can call only static variables. We cannot call other variables. So that's why you have to declare your WebDriver driver variable as a global static variable. Then in the before class, you define all the browser launching code. That's it. Keep that only. Remaining, you don't need to worry about that. So that is how we can do. So let's go and practice some programs, okay? And we can see uh, even we have a uh, alerts program. We'll do alerts program so that you can understand better. But I have given a lot of programs here. Please go and practice all the programs here. See, from the beginning, I have given so many Google tests I have written in the JNet format. You try it out. Already we have written a JNet Google search. You try using all the annotations, how you can write with a different search. So that's the one thing. Then Heroku app website. So open the browser. So this is the application URL you can open. See that very step by step it is given. Verify the page title and page heading. So verify the page title and page heading. See, this is the page title and this is the page heading. So we need to verify that. Then click on form authentication link. Form authentication link. So this is the basically login scenario. Then verify the login page address bar URL and page heading. So this is the login page address bar URL and heading. So both, everything step by step, login with valid credentials. So these are the credentials. To Smith is the username and this one is the password. So you can try it out. Click on login button. So this is the one. You see this is the green color. So message, you logged into a secure area. So you can verify this message, then secure area and click on logout. That's what the steps. Verify the secure area page heading and success message. Click on logout button. So go and click on the logout button. So you logged out. So you got a message, you logged out of the secure area. So log in with a valid username and invalid password, another scenario. So these are different scenarios. See? So verify the error message. Valid username, invalid password. Try it out. So valid username means this one. Invalid password means you typed wrong. See, your password is invalid. You are getting this error message, you have to validate. Then we have, so login with the invalid username and valid password. So invalid username and valid password. See, your username is invalid. These are the error messages you have to validate. Login with invalid credentials, both invalid. So verify that error message. Close the browser. See, this is the step by step. This is the scenarios, how to prepare the scenarios. So let's go and write this scenario so that we can understand how to write. Okay. So join back and we'll write that program. Okay. I'll close this session here.